and so that's a little bit of a stunning moment. And just the tiniest background is that when I was rehearsing last night, I was with my 16-year-old son. He was timing me because I wanted to make sure that I followed the rules and I was under 10 minutes. And then at the end I said, well, honey, what did you think about the piece? And he said, well, Mom, it was pretty somber, but it was well written. So I feel that if you can pass the test of a 16-year-old, then you can be in front of lovely strangers, and it shouldn't be too scary. This is called 10 Days of Needles. What if my topic is not glamorous or charming, like joy, or being engaged to Mary, the woman of my dreams, and looking for the rabbi who will co-officiate at our wedding? I was planning on an exceptionally clever piece about how it felt like we were doing online dating with rabbis to try to assess the character, kindness, and spirituality of a rabbi via email. Alongside this, I was experiencing the ups and downs of job interviews without job offers. Both the search for the rabbi and job searching started to feel like when I was trying to get pregnant 17 years ago. There was all this hope, followed by the universe saying, not quite yet, hang in there. I tried to keep faith close to my heart as sadness started creeping in like a thief in the night. One morning I woke up and could not figure out what day it was. The days were all swirling together in a whirlpool. Conversation was getting more difficult, my energy was low, and my irritability was high. My shoulders started drooping. I didn't feel like taking walks. I wasn't hungry. I was tired of feeling tired. Mary had a great idea. Let's go play pinball. It was better than talking to my therapist. It cheered me up. I could lay my worries, griefs, aches, and pains aside during a small, concentrated period of time. Then we left the game room, and there they were waiting for me again. In an attempt to address this issue, I made an appointment at the Community Acupuncture Project, a clinic that treats lots of people at once in the same room. The sliding scale makes it accessible to everybody, and it's all about healing. I told Lynn, the acupuncturist, that my self-care had slipped. My mood was all over the place, my appetite was weak, and I was so tired. She directed me to the room with 5 other people. I took the leap of faith that it wasn't going to make anything worse, and maybe, just maybe, I'd feel a touch of relief. When the session was over, I was ravenous for food. It was the hungriest I'd felt in weeks, and that seemed promising. The second appointment focused on grief and lack of energy. She got a couple spots that felt really intense. They corresponded with organs that needed some extra support. I could literally feel the energy moving around in my body. It was my 49th birthday. Then I left my appointment in an acupuncture trance, and there was a voicemail about setting up a phone interview for a job that I really wanted. It seemed like the landscape was shifting. It was Thursday, and the interview would be the following week. After the weekend, I returned to the clinic. I told Lynn that I had a job interview coming, and my depression was making me feel kind of foggy. If you don't feel too much pressure, could you wipe it out in this session so I can kick some ass in the interview tomorrow? She laughed gently. Sure, I'll try. What I love is that I don't have to worry in any way, shape, or form that she will be weighed down with my request. She's there to take care of people who come to the clinic. The needles aren't going to take on my sadness. They're there to work their magic. The recliners aren't absorbing anybody's troubles. They're just hugging the people while they get their treatment. I returned 2 days later. The clinic was running a special of unlimited sessions for 10 days for $100. It seemed like the path of least resistance to say yes to that. At the very least, It would help me track what day it was. Alana, the volunteer at the front desk, was about the age that my mother would be if she were still alive. She apologized in advance that she was slow with the new credit card machine. I have nowhere to go and no time to get there, I told her. Slow is the right speed for me. Her jeans had these kind of sparkles on them. I told her I really liked them. Oh, these? They're just comfortable. They're supposed to lift your butt, and that doesn't work anymore. I just didn't want to throw them out. Well, I said, I don't think you need to throw them out. They look great. And why do we feel we shouldn't be comfortable? That's as good a reason as any to keep a pair of jeans. Comfortable and cute is a good combination. And while we're on the topic, I want to tell you the other day you were wearing such bright, cheerful colors. It was good for me to see because I was having a sad day. She was so appreciative for the compliment, and a slow smile spread across her face. Thank you. That means a lot. We never know what people notice. I told her that I'm quite observant, even when I'm sad. The truth is that sometimes I notice more when I'm sad because I've slowed down enough to see things around me. Please know what a difference it makes that you are so kind, I said. I'm going through a rough patch right now and it really touches me. And we both started crying. And she came over and wrapped her arms around me. Yes, that made me cry more. Lynn said I could go into the treatment room. Alana announced to Lynn that we were crying. I love that she stated it, just in case anyone missed that fact. I explained what was going on to Lynn. I don't want the sadness to leave. I just wanted to keep moving. I didn't get a second interview. She put the needles in and I asked if she could explain it a little. She pointed toward my head and said, "It's like heaven," and toward my feet and earth, and then toward my heart, and self-love is in between. Maybe that sounds a bit corny. No, I said, it's just what I need. Things were still tough. I was trying to make a sparkly drink for my son, and I poured in regular water instead of soda water. I was confused about why there were no bubbles. Sparkling water without sparkle? It seemed to match my mood. My son and I were driving the next day. I stopped for somebody I saw at the crosswalk, but it turns out that he wasn't there. He was at a bus stop and not crossing the street at all. Why couldn't I get the cogs in my brain to turn a little bit faster? Heaven and earth with self-love in between. There are 3 acupuncturists who work at the clinic. Each visit, one of them would whisper with me to see what my top concerns were. And they had to whisper because there are 4 other people with needles in the room, usually sleeping. Things just seem so hard, I said in session 2. In session 3, I'm feeling really down. How's your digestion? Kind of slow. How's your sleep? Always troubled. Trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or waking up feeling refreshed? Yes, all 3. The 4th session, I wanted to know, why did she put so many needles in my head last session? I was told it was to help the overthinking. Wow. How cool is that? I thought to myself. I let myself stop at that one thought. Ruminating was simply too exhausting. After she left the room, the tears fell slowly, pooling up in my ears. I didn't want to move my hands to wipe them away because the needles would interfere. Instead, I observed how it felt with curiosity, and it was this meditation that led me into my deep sleep for the next 2 hours. Session 5, I reported irritable and sad. The day before, I was hanging out with my friends who are 2 and 4. Their mom died in June, and they are being raised by their father, who transcends his own grief at his wife's passing, so he can bring whimsy and security to his children. I was feeling lethargy and heaviness, so I let their dad know that I couldn't stay too long. The 2-year-old just wanted to snuggle. She was transfixed with my tattoo, almost seemed to be lost in the ink. We were playing a game where she would sit on my stomach and she would pretend she was on the bus. I was the sleepy bus driver who would give her a little ride and then fall asleep, snoring very loudly. In between bus stops, she looked at me with her little, precious, brown eyes. My mommy died. I took a breath and asked her, "Do you miss her?" "Yes." She watched tears well up in my eyes. I wrapped her in my arms and rocked with her. It felt like such a relief to hold this tender and sad girl without trying to use words to soothe the situation. I told this story to my acupuncturist, and she said, "Those are the most real moments in life, aren't they?" "They sure are," I told her. "I may not have paid work right now, but I am continually discovering my life's purpose." Session 6. So you're working on depression and irritability? A new acupuncturist asked the following day. No. Today it's agitation, flooding thoughts, and a complicated dream this morning about getting lost and a dog driving a car. 2 days in a row I walked to acupuncture instead of taking my car. I like the fact that feeling less sad makes it easier to walk, and walking often helps me feel less sad. When she asked how I was doing the last 2 days, I said that things are feeling more solid. Something seems to be working. Today, I had my last session in the series. I gave a copy of this piece to my acupuncturist, and she read it while I was healing, full of needles and hope. After my session, she told me, "Thanks. It's all about connecting, and I appreciate you sharing how acupuncture has been a bridge. I am doing my best to show up for every moment as it unfolds." Thank you.